Good afternoon. My name's Matt, and I'm also joined by
me. I'm Dave, and welcome to this week's eSellerCafe News Roundup.
Indeed, and apologies from Richard. He's away due to a family. What's the best way of explaining it?
A family thing.
Family thing. In short, he'll be back as Fiona next week. Sorry, Richard, got to be done. Right, on to a serious point. In this live episode, we are going to be looking at the e-commerce news, which affects you and your business, and the topics which we are going to be discussing with you here live with this afternoon, or this morning, or this evening, depending where you are in the world, is number one: are robotics in e-commerce fulfillment the future? So Dave will be discussing that in a few moments. Amazon is expanding even further out in Asia. eBay brings price match guarantee to the UK. Amazon launches the Hub, so parcel delivery lockers. Sounds pretty curious. We'll find out more about that one in a moment. eBay Open 2017 has kicked off last night with the seller reception. And the last topic for today is eBay introduces search with images on mobile devices. So Dave, as always, there's a lot going on in the world, and before we get into these, it's going to be one of those where we've got past tense, we've got stuff which is going on right now, and we've also got slow burner stuff as well, which is going to go on in the future. So keep that in the back of your mind. While these topics may not feel like they're going to directly impact you here and now, they may be a future one. Keep that in the back of your mind as we go through. So Dave, robotics and e-commerce, is this just not a given that this is the way forwards?
Absolutely. I mean, it shouldn't come as a surprise to anybody that this was like the natural progression. A lot of people already think that Amazon already have robotics, which they do to a degree. They have the conveyors and the automated push pull little lever things which ferry things off to the right place. But this is much more about the advanced robotics. This is now to the stage of replacing warehouse staff with picking robots and then packing robots, and all of a sudden it's another nail in the coffin for humans in the workplace. But ultimately humans, as we said before, are breakable. We break, we get stressed, we run out of energy, we make mistakes, and robots do that less so. For every 10 robots, you could probably have one man managing them, fixing them, and making sure they all work. So it is the natural progression of things, for sure. Amazon, like I said, is probably the industry which is leading this at the minute. With, like I said, their fulfillment centers are very automated already. But it's just this is, like you said, Matt, at the beginning, this is one of the slow burners. This is one of the future ones that we're going to see. And it's one of those where the big businesses right now, that not obviously Amazon being at the top, but the big retailers out there are now investing in robotics themselves. How can they improve their processes? And literally robotics is going to be the next step. And it's just this news piece was a little bit of, let's look to the future. Is your business, what could your business do? Should you be thinking about elements of automation within your warehouse right now? If not, is Fulfillment by Amazon or another fulfillment center which utilizes robotics the natural step? As Dave, undoubtedly. So go on.
I was going to say, we've done interviews with small to medium-sized business owners before, and to a certain degree, the actual fulfillment process is more like a necessity when you first get started, because you don't know where it's going to work or anything like that. But then the second is that the business starts to grow up. The fulfillment process is actually, for all intents and purposes, a big waste of the business owner's time. And I know that sounds harsh, but it can be done by somebody else, whether we're talking about Amazon or another fulfillment company, for a comparable cost, in short. And again, obviously Amazon FBA has some very distinct advantages to it, but fulfillment in general is it turns it into, what was the way which we explain this? It turns it into a management task, doesn't it? Instead of from a task which you keep in-house and you have to do, or what manage staff to actually fulfill your orders, is that if you do use a third-party fulfillment company, it does actually turn the whole process into a management task, which is a different set of skills which are required for that, but it does release human capital within your business to just let someone else do that and focus on what you're good at. So you as a small to medium-sized business owner, your time is not best spent sticking stuff in bags.
Yeah.
Give it, like, get it away and give it to someone else. And FBA is a great example of that. But don't forget, there are plenty of other third-party fulfillment companies which will do, for all intents and purposes, exactly the same task. And it does release that human capital in your business so that you can focus on what you do best, in short.
And of course, I mean, I'm thinking about this from a business point of view. If if you were Amazon and you'd managed to maybe say on a safe bet, managed to reduce your staffing in fulfillment centers by 50%, all of a sudden you can pass on some of that savings onto customers, which makes using FBA even more of a no-brainer. And it's one of those. I'm not saying that will happen. I'm saying that could happen, and probably what I would do if I was Amazon, and robots started taking away some of the workforce places. It's you all of a sudden you free up capital. You can pass savings on to customers and make, again, the prime. It fills out the Amazon marketplace. It all just fits into Amazon's, web, all even more. So one to watch.
Keep the extra profit for yourself, which is
there is that as well.
Nightly. Okay, moving on to the next topic. And by the way, links to all the articles which we're discussing here, if you live this afternoon, are down in the video description underneath this video. Just click on Show More, and links to each of the articles are down there for you. The next topic is eBay brings their price match guarantee to the UK. Now, Dave, is this just PR or what? Is it actually got some weight to it?
A little. I would say it's a little bit of PR, and it's also it's quite an interesting thing because, okay, so eBay already do this in the US currently. They already have their price match guarantee in place. They've now brought it out to the UK, and I believe they're rolling it out to Germany and some other parts of Europe later in the next few months. Now, there's no way that eBay could do this across their whole range. That just would be an unfathomable task. Instead, what this actually means is eBay are going to be launching a price match guarantee on over 20,000 of their products, which just so happen to be in their deals categories in the UK. So again, it's rolling out in the UK this month, and it's basically comparing 6 major stores here in the UK, which I've got the list here. So
while Dave's finding the list, just for a moment, the names which Dave's going to, I'm 99% sure on this, but 2 of the names which Dave are going to mention within the price match guarantee are going to be Argos and Currys. And for absolute clarity, both of those businesses sell via eBay. So are Currys in Argos in that list, if I remember that list correctly?
They are. There's also a third one which sells on eBay, Tesco. Also, there was a 4th one who did. I'm not sure if they still do, Asda. The 5th is John Lewis. I don't think they do Amazon, do eBay, and the last one is Amazon.
No, John Lewis never ended up doing eBay in the end.
I know they looked at it, but I don't think they ever did. Yeah. Asda, I was in talks with Asda at the time when they were doing it, and they went with another company at the time who royally screwed it up. Anyway,
you smiled then, didn't you, Dave? So they ended up using a third party. You smiled then.
I did, yes. They came to us, with the company I was working for at the time, to do it. Some other company undercut us massively, and they made an absolute mess of it. But to be fair, the bad sign of that was it put Asda way off eBay. And we always said there was a huge, we kept saying, look what Tesco's doing. This could be you if you do it well. But yeah, we've gone way off topic. Anyway, so yeah, they're the 6 competitors which eBay are going to be price matching against. And yeah, it's a curious one. Like I said, 20,000 products is a sizable, catalog. It's a sizable product inventory to play with there. And it's, yeah, I don't know. It's obviously going to make the eBay deals page stick out a little more. I mean, you'll remember, Matt, the deals page from years ago was a fantastic place. You think about it, there was limited, there was scarcity in the deals. Remember when they created that urgency? Now the deals page just feels flooded with things.
I've got to admit, I have not checked the eBay deals page in a very, very, very long time. And the reason for that, and again, I'm just being open with you right now, which is that I didn't really feel that they were actual real deals, if that makes sense. Absolutely. And there was a couple of circumstances where it was actually cheaper to buy it from somewhere else. So actually, maybe this is going to add some authority to eBay if they're going to do a price match guarantee, knowing that if an item does turn up as a deal and is cheaper from one of the other major players, which is the ones here in the United Kingdom, that they will price match.
And that's that. Like I said, that's the thing. I totally agree with Matt. Years and years ago, the deals page, they felt like genuine deals. They were, there was scarcity. There wasn't many of them. Now I think people have bought cheap things and bought them in bulk for the whole purpose of sticking them on the deals page on eBay. And obviously, you need to have an account manager or close contacts with eBay, be a good seller in order to get on there. But I just feel that the deals page lost some of its special feeling a little bit. And I think this price match guarantee is potentially a good way to bring that back, that feeling of actually getting a deal on the deals page. So we'll wait and see. I think it's interesting. We'll see. It's nice to see eBay actually doing something with the deals section. Obviously, I don't think it'll ever compete with Amazon's deals, but we will. Like I said, if the price matching them, then who knows?
Well, it's funny you should say that because it had Amazon Prime Day and I didn't buy a sausage.
Me neither this year. Me neither.
There you go. Anyway, let's move on because we do have quite a few topics for us to cover here live with you today. The next one is Amazon launches the Hub, which is parcel delivery lockers. Now, this is slightly different to what we may be thinking. That's right, isn't it, Dave? This is where we can drop off.
Yeah, pretty much. And this is the thing, is that obviously right now people might be thinking the Hub, well, Amazon already do lockers. What's the difference? And right now the Hub is something that's coming to the US or sort of being trialed in the US. And it's being used in what they're calling multi-tenant buildings. So I'm guessing that's like apartment buildings or like commercial premises. And they're similar to pickup lockers, but they're actually modular, can be expanded, available in different colors to match different building decors, so they don't look like much of an eyesore. But ultimately, the Hub lockers are going to be accessible for any delivery company, regardless of the shipper, as non-exclusive delivery points. So it's a weird one. It's interesting to see how this all fits together. Like I said, they could now be being installed in offices and other, like I said, apartment buildings, rather than the more commercial aspect. I don't know.
Maybe this is their approach to getting past some of the issues which they've maybe had in business locations, and the businesses said, no, it's just an Amazon locker. What about these other couriers? And maybe it's just their way of tactfully going, okay, right, we'll let other couriers leverage it at the same time. Maybe it's them just being polite and still getting their locker into the actual building itself.
That's an interesting point. Maybe this is Amazon's way around commission on Amazon's owning everything. Like, oh no, we'll let other people use them too. But whether they'll charge them to like lease them, to use them, who knows? It's all sort of very. I don't think they've released any pricing information just yet. For me, it feels, I'm not sure if this is a bit, compared to the news that we've had the past few weeks with Amazon, I don't think this is big news. It's not.
I think you're right, Dave. And the other one, this is going out in the US only at the moment, so we'll see what happens with that. And of course, as we find out with other things, typically what happens if it goes well in the United States, then it does get spilled out to the rest of the world. And those of you which weren't aware, myself and Dave are both based in the United Kingdom as Richard, which is the American within the team.
Yes.
Now, change in tact, Amazon expand into Southeast Asia. Now, is this above and beyond what they've been doing recently, say within the Middle East?
Yep.
I presume they, again, I haven't read the whole article myself, but I would guess they would be going straight after Singapore because it's so cash rich, if that makes sense. What's the deal with this, Dave?
Yeah, absolutely hit the nail on the head. So we talked about a couple of weeks ago how Amazon bought Souk out in Abu Dhabi and Dubai, whichever one it was. And now they're going even further east and heading, like Matt said, hitting it on the head, straight to Singapore. Now, this is new territory for Amazon. Currently, Alibaba is the name out in the East when it comes to e-commerce. And we always wondered whether Amazon would stretch that far. Like, we know that they're looking to launch in Australia. Australia, whilst in the southeast, is usually identified by many as much more of a Western country. And like I said, obviously, eBay Australia gets e-commerce; they get it very well. Whereas right now, Amazon has kicked off in Singapore, and like you said, Matt, very cash rich. But there's a few other things which put Singapore in favor. So, large English-speaking country, a lot of expats out there who speak English as the first language. Also, location-wise, it's a small place, so the logistics involved with delivery, free one-day delivery, and all that sort of stuff, very simple to do. China is huge. Singapore, nice and small. So again, it seems like an ideal place to dip their toe in the Southeast Asia water and sort of build that brand recognition for anyone who isn't as familiar. Because remember, like for us, Amazon is Amazon, and Alibaba is, something which we may have heard of, some of us may have used, but we don't use it daily. That could be exactly the same out in the East. That everybody knows Alibaba, they visit it daily, they've heard of Amazon but never really used it. So this seems like Amazon's way of dipping the toe in the water, getting a little bit of brand recognition out there, getting a few people to try the service, no doubt try and tie them into a bit of a Prime membership, and ultimately see what happens. So it's very curious, more expansion by Amazon globally. And yeah, we'll have to see how this goes, because as I said, this is the first instance of Amazon going sort of head to head with Alibaba in Alibaba's backyard, really.
Yeah, and this is definitely the one to watch into the future, because it might kick up a stink. It might just carry on like below the radar, or we don't know yet. So that's definitely one to watch in the future. The next topic for today is the eBay Open 2017 kicked off with a seller reception. And also, let me just add to this as well, David Wayne also did a live, it was on Facebook, it was a live recording. Well, I watched the recording of the live event as well. Yeah, it's going to be a curious one, this one, Dave, isn't it?
It is. There's a few... and what I'd like to say is this: Richard, who, like I say, can't be with us right now, messaged me this morning to say that he's working on a blog post about the key takeaways from the eBay Open conference, and that will be out this week, if not tomorrow, probably Wednesday. And Richard, he did the same thing with the Google I/O, he did it with the Facebook conference, with Gateway. He writes these fantastic full reviews about everything that you need to know. Cuts out the fluffy rubbish and just gives you it as it is. So that is coming soon. But to give you sort of a high level look at from our point of view, the good news that I gathered from this is that eBay, it's very, very low on the sort of developer level and very high on the seller level. So they were putting a lot of focus on seller education, seller community, which again is those big pivotal points that Devin has been talking about now for well over a year. That has been forefront of this whole event. Obviously headed down in Vegas, and 1,500 sellers were apparently attended, over 30 vendors showcasing eBay services. So it's eBay's biggest event that they run. And yeah, it's one of those. We've obviously, myself and Matt, we can't really go into it too deeply because, like I said, we've not prepared enough, but we've seen some of the things that eBay have come out with regarding sort of seller pages and the category pages and the updates they've made.
Yeah, there are some very much some oddities, and I'm really looking forward to Richard's written version of this.
Yes,
because there are there's some good things which come out of this, and there's some blatant just SEO spam, like really. And again, this is my personal opinion. Just terrible workflow for a customer, and I feel that I maybe need to substantiate what I'm saying. Is that within the categories is that you now click in, and then you've got some featured products, and you click on one of those. Is that it will take you to this, for all intents and purposes, is a page built for SEO. Because it's definitely not built for the consumer, and it will only narrow it down to a single product, and you get no options which are available in it. And I really am going to let Richard explain this one in more detail, because the bulk of what they've been in done, and the next topic which we're going to cover in a moment, but the bulk of what they've been done is good. It's just this. There's got I can't remember how many million pages did they say they got of these, and
I can't remember.
They've just been built for SEO. They've not actually been built for the customer, and I can tell you why they've not been built for the customer. Is because the product's images up here, you can make no selection between size and color, and the product description is right down to the bottom. Very peculiar layout, especially for eBay. So yeah. Look out for the notes on that one. Richard will cover it in more detail.
It wouldn't surprise me if we cover this much more in next week's roundup, because it is, like I said, we don't want to go too deep in it. We haven't got the information for you to look at to see what we're talking about. However, like I said, for me, Matt and Richard all were looking at these pages at the same time. We all came up with the exact same conclusion, and we're three, very sort of, not professional, but very astute eBay buyers and eBay users. We use the platform for many, many years, and it just felt odd. It felt disjointed in many ways. And, one of the things which myself and Matt do with Understanding E is we have to look at things from a buyer's perspective as well as a seller's perspective, and it was confusing to both. And I think, like Matt said, he nailed it when he said they've built it for SEO. They've basically built these pages for Google, not for human beings. And that's the problem, because Google's not going to be buying products. So
it is a bit of a weird one. You're going to find out more of that one when Richard gets back and pops the article up.
Yeah, so we'll be much more about eBay Open next week.
Yeah, absolutely. And that leaves us with the last topic of this live session. And remember, links to all the everything which we're talking about is down. Links to everything which we've been covered with so far with you today are all down in the video description. Just click on show more, and the links are there to each of the topics which we've been discussing. The last topic of the day is eBay introduces search with images on mobile devices. Is this the one which I'm thinking of, where you've got the like the woman with the dress and the handbag and the skirt, and you can click on it? Is that what I'm thinking, Dave?
Yep, that's the one. And this is sort of new technology, and it's nice again to see eBay. One of the leaders. I think Google have done this first, but I mean one of the leaders in terms of this image identification product piece. And they actually announced this just before the start of the eBay Open workshop conference. As eBay don't tend to announce new things at their conferences. It's all much more about communication and education. But this was eBay's new thing, where they're talking about search with images on mobile devices. So the concept is basically powered by a form of artificial intelligence and machine learning. Again, two huge topics right now in the tech industry. And I think eBay said that now across the eBay platform, they have over 1.1 billion items for sale at any given time. huge, and it's now about giving the buyer the ability to be able to search via an image. So almost a case of you would be able to take a picture on your phone of a product and search for that product on eBay. You know, rather than have to guess what people may have used for keywords, what people may have used in item specifics, all of a sudden this image can do it for you. And it's right now, it's obviously mobile only. It's in beta.
And Dave, can I just put this into perspective?
Yes.
So something quite technical, for example, like a little circuit board, just like that, isn't it's really blurry, apologies, but you get my point. A little circuit board like that is probably not going to be the typical thing which you're going to be used for this. This is going to be more of a case that I can actually see the missus. She's seen a top in a magazine. She can take a photograph, and it's a red top with roses on it, for example. And she can take a photograph of that and then maybe search for it on eBay to find the match, because you're not necessarily going to find that kind of item quickly and easily. So why not take a photo and find it that way? It's got great potential.
I'm a big fan of this, and largely because eBay have come out and announced that this feature developers have been working on for over 2 years. And you can sort of see why, because this cannot be an easy, I mean, you'll know, Matt, more than I will, but this looks like a hell of an application to be able to bring to the real world, being able to take a picture of a product and then for that picture to be converted into a database, and that database to go, oh, you mean this, and then pull a product back. That seems like a very clever bit of code going on in the background there.
Yeah, it's going to be a case that you want to run it on the images which you've got, and then create like a key for it or a set of keys, so you know it's red. And it's got something which looks like a flower on it, for example, and then be able to do the same quickly on what the image with the consumer's been done, so that you can then do a cross match against them. So that's probably the way which I would do it, but I've got no idea how they're doing it. That does seem the most logical way. But you're right.
Yeah, sorry, go on, Matt.
I was going to say you're right. It's not.
Not an easy bit of code.
No, it's not a woo, job done.
Yeah. Like I said, 2 years, and I can't imagine what eBay developers are getting paid. I imagine it's a fair old chunk of money. The interesting part, though, comes with the machine learning piece. Now, this is, again, very much a not new bit of tech, but it's very up and coming. I was at the conference in Catalyst, and Google was saying how they were playing with machine learning and how their chief data engineers at one of their data centers felt that they were running at optimal efficiency in terms of like cooling and energy output and all the rest of it. They turned machine learning on and it dropped by 40%. Like they found they managed to save 40% efficiency over what humans thought was their best possible way. And the thing with machine learning is it keeps learning. The more you use it, the more it learns, the better it gets.
But this is the thing we got to remember about machine learning, is that just think it is a very, very young child. In short, is that there was a time when you didn't know how to walk, and the way which you learned to walk was just by you just kept trying until you got the hang of it, and you learned through experience. And it's exactly the same with AI for all intents and purposes. You need it to fall over and come to the wrong conclusion and make the feedback loop, and that's. Actually, that's why AI is actually very, very difficult for all intents and purposes, and which is that because if you can compare it to us as human beings, we are extremely good estimators. Okay, we can make very, very good educated guesses based upon previous experiences. So when you're out driving and there's a car and it just does that, it does the tiniest little movement. To anybody else, like a passenger, they wouldn't have noticed it. But you as a driver, you've already clocked up, I'm going to bet a tenner that car is going to swap lanes. And then before you know it, like 9 out of 10 times, it's changed lanes. And it's subconscious things like that. So I know I've gone off topic, but that is the kind of level which AI will struggle to get to. And it takes years. to do. So if they can do something with images, something nice and flat, nice that is not trying to change lanes, it's not in a ever changing environment.
There's no behavior. Yeah, it's just a thing.
Not doing behavior, it's just doing something flat, which is an image. Then happy days.
Yeah, apparently it's called something like convolutional neural network is what they're using to process the images. Now, that's just 3 words to me, which, you know, I know what all 3 of the words mean. I don't know what they mean together. Yeah, exactly. But the other interesting piece, now this is the part that got me, is because when you think about image search, the first thing I thought when I heard about this is that just screams Instagram. That is social e-commerce right there.
I see what you're doing now. Or Pinterest. And
Absolutely.
get the items off and then match the items in. Buy this on eBay.
And guess what eBay have done? They've built something called Find It on eBay, where it will plug into social platforms or websites. You share the URL with eBay. eBay uses its magic new program to go and search for the image and then brings you up that product or something similar on the eBay platform.
And how many times have you done that? You've been on, say, Instagram and gone, look at that, that's really cool. And there's no frigging details on it.
No link.
Pinterest was always the bloody worst.
Excuse
my language. It's just frustrating. Pinterest was always the worst for that. You see this fascinating piece of furniture or something like that, and just no details on it at all.
And now, like I said, and I think, you know, I've banged on about this for years. I'm sure if you're watching this and you've followed me and Matt for a while, you're probably bored of me saying it. It's like, we just wanted eBay to innovate. That's all we wanted. And this is perhaps the most innovative thing that eBay have done in years. And I think it has a lot of potential because, like I said, I know that Google has been doing things with, you know, machine learning and image searches. Whilst in Luxembourg not long ago, I actually used Google's app to translate an image in real time of like a street sign. It was fascinating. You know, that was in like Luxembourgish, and on my phone it was in English. It was amazing. And I thought, yeah, that's very cool. This is now the next step of that, where it brings in the e-commerce part. And I think that is very curious, very interesting. Amazon don't have anything like this. And that's the first time we've been able to say that about eBay in a long time.
It is indeed. Now, on that bombshell, I think it's about time which we wrap up, Dave.
Yeah.
So to quickly recap the topics which we've been covered here live with you today is number 1, robotics in e-commerce, fulfillment, the future. And we had that. Obviously, the answer to that is yes. But we went into the deeper topic about fulfillment in general. If you missed that section, rewind yourself back to the beginning. eBay brings in price match guarantee to the UK. That's something which has come across the pond from the US. And of course, that is going to go on into the rest of Europe. So Germany, France, and Italy are slated to receive a price match guarantee on eBay deals, which frankly is a good thing. Amazon launches the Hub, which is parcel delivery lockers, but not just for Amazon, which is a little bit peculiar. That's gonna be something to watch. Again, also talking of something to watch, Amazon is expanded out into Southeast Asia. Kind of a no-brainer, like Dave was saying earlier. This is the first time they've kind of like turned up on Alibaba's doorstep and gone, hello. We're going to find out what happens with that. Then we've got eBay Open 2017 kicked off as well. Again, if you're kind of curious, well, let's see what's going on. Go and check out the eBay page on Facebook. There are some live videos on there with presentations, some other bits and bobs as well. Live feedback on that. But remember, Richard is and has been keeping an eye on that. And look out for a post around the changes for the things, like a summary of what was mentioned at eBay Open 2017, because there is some good stuff. And there's just this one piece which both me and Dave really didn't like, which are those useless pages, and once you see what you mean about it, what we're talking about, it will make an awful lot more sense.
Maybe next week's episode, when we've got some more information for you, we might even try a screen share and show you what we're talking about.
Yeah, we'll show you how ridiculously useless is it, and I'll see if I can find the same example with a sports top.
There've been a Skype chat.
It was even so bad. It told me it was a white, medium or large or whatever it was, and it was showing a picture of a black.
Yeah.
And it not good.
That, and there was at least 15 characters taken up with a random string of letters and numbers, which meant nothing.
Yeah.
That should not have been displayed.
Next week, we'll see if we can do that live. And the last topic which we covered, which is what we just spoke about, eBay introducing a search with images on mobile devices. Branded cool by both Matt and Dave, and I'm sure Richard would also say cool as well. So on that note, it is time for us to wrap up. I would like to say for myself a massive thank you to you for joining us here live today. Remember, if you've got any questions or comments about anything which we've been uncovered here live with you today, you can either leave us a comment underneath this video or underneath any of the articles over on eSellerCafe.com. And finally, a massive thank you to Dave for joining us here and giving us a rundown on which we covered, and we will be seeing Richard next week. He may be coming back as Fiona, which he's not.
I was going to need some explaining.
I'm really doing it to wind it up, Richard, because he's got a family engagement which he needs to be at, and I'm sure he will get his own back for next week. So.
I'd love it if he turns up in a wig.
Brilliant. So for myself, Matt,
and from me, Dave.
So Dave, cheerios.
Enjoy your week, guys. Bye.